Hey guys! Today we're talking about FAFSA tips that you can't miss. In this video, I will be covering my top 5 FAFSA tips, so you do not miss out on any free money. First things first, let's get into what is FAFSA, because there are a lot of people who actually don't know what it is. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Student Aid. This form is what you need to fill out in order to receive federal financial aid, such as Pell Grants and loans from the federal government. Now, every college is different, and some colleges may have their own financial aid applications that you need to fill out. However, FAFSA is required for you to receive federal financial aid, and most likely for you to receive institutional aid or private scholarships as well. So basically, FAFSA is kind of like the main hub where you put all of your financial information, and based on that information, you will receive financial aid from the federal government as well as from the schools and private sources as well. The second tip is actually when to submit your FAFSA application. The FAFSA opens up every October 1st, and you definitely want to be one of the first people applying for this. There are 2 reasons why you want to apply as soon as possible. First, you want to apply as soon as possible because there is a finite amount of money for financial aid, and this especially applies to Pell Grants because there is only $6,495 per year. And if you're one of the first people applying, then chances are you'll get the full amount. However, if you wait until later in the year, chances are they're going to run out of that money, and you're not going to get the full $6,495. In fact, they might even reduce the amount to maybe half or even less than that. Second reason you want to apply as soon as possible is because you want to lock in your expected family contribution, or EFC. Your EFC is a number that ranges between 0 and infinity. Essentially, the higher your number, the less financial aid you'll receive. This is because your EFC represents how much your family is expected to contribute towards your college education. If you are one of the first people applying, then chances are your EFC will be lower compared to if you apply later in the year. Why? Because the EFC is based off of your prior tax returns, and if you apply earlier, then they're going to look at your previous year's tax return, which likely will show a higher income. However, if you wait till later in the year and apply for the next year, then they're going to look at your upcoming tax return, which might reflect a lower income since the economy isn't doing so well right now. Thus, if you apply earlier, you'll likely get a lower EFC, which means you'll get more financial aid. Tip number 3 is actually how to double-check all your information on your FAFSA. As you probably already know, the FAFSA is extremely long, and there are just so many details and little information that you need to input. And this is where a lot of people make mistakes, and they don't even realize it. A lot of times, there will be simple math errors, or maybe you accidentally put down the wrong social security number, or maybe you put something else down incorrectly, and you definitely do not want to make these mistakes, because it will delay your financial aid, and you do not want that. So what you should do is actually go through each and every single page of the FAFSA and look at each question and try to cross-reference them with the documents that you have. For example, let's say there's a question regarding your income and you're not sure what to put, then you want to cross-reference that with your tax document. Or let's say they ask you for your driver's license. Then you want to go grab your driver's license and make sure that all the numbers match. This will just ensure that you're putting the correct information, and it will save you so much time in the future. The 4th tip is actually what to do if your financial situation changes. Let's say you applied for FAFSA, but you were rejected, or maybe you didn't get the amount that you wanted, and you feel like you deserve more. Well, you can actually appeal that decision by submitting a special form called the SAP appeal. This is especially relevant if something has happened in your life that has drastically changed your financial situation. For example, let's say you lost your job, or maybe your parents got divorced, or maybe you got sick and you can no longer work. These are all scenarios where you can use the SAP appeal to get more financial aid. Now, it is important to note that just because you submitted an SAP appeal does not mean you're guaranteed to get more money. It all depends on the situation and how convincing you are in your argument. But regardless, it never hurts to ask for more money, and it only takes a few minutes to submit the SAP appeal. Now, the last tip is actually common mistakes that people make when filling out their FAFSA. And you definitely want to avoid making these mistakes because they could cost you thousands of dollars. So the first mistake that a lot of people make is forgetting to renew their FAFSA. So remember how I said that you want to submit your FAFSA as early as possible. Well, that only applies to your freshman year. After that, you need to renew your FAFSA every single year. So it is important to set a calendar reminder for January of every year so you remember to renew your FAFSA. The second mistake that a lot of people make is forgetting to file the FAFSA for their parents. So for most people, you will fill out the FAFSA as a dependent student, meaning that you will need your parents' information. So what a lot of people will do is they'll forget to actually send that part of the FAFSA to their parents, and their parents won't send it back. And this is a big mistake because it delays your financial aid. So what you need to do is make sure that you tell your parents that they need to fill out the FAFSA and they need to send it back as soon as possible. The third mistake that people make is failing to list all of their siblings. On the FAFSA, you are required to list all of the siblings that live at home. This is because your EFC is based on the number of dependents you have. Thus, if you fail to list one of your siblings, then your EFC might be lower than it should be, which means you might receive more money than you're actually supposed to. Over time, they will find out, and you might even get in trouble for that. So make sure that you don't forget anyone. The fourth mistake that a lot of people make is assuming that their school will automatically give them the maximum amount of aid. So after you fill out your FAFSA, you will receive an SAR, Student Aid Report, which will show you how much you're expected to pay out of pocket for college. However, you can actually appeal this number and ask for more money. So don't assume that you're stuck with that number. Do some research on your school's financial aid policy and see if you can appeal that number. Worst case scenario, they'll just say no, but you'll never know unless you try. The fifth and final mistake that people make is forgetting to sign the FAFSA. This is a very easy mistake to make because it's just one simple click. But if you forget to sign it, then you will not be considered and you will not receive any financial aid. So make sure you remember to hit that submit button. So that's it for my top 5 FAFSA tips. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And also let me know what other videos do you want me to cover next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.